Hello, Internet! This is part 2 of my video noticing journals, and this week I went to 2 concert recital-y things, and that means several things. The first thing that means is that that's 2 more I don't have to worry about in the next 8 weeks to get my 12 recital class credits. The second thing that means is that I got to see a lot of music, and they were both instrumental concerts, which means I got to see music that's very different from what I do, which is always cool and fun to learn. And the first thing I will tell you is that the horn in the orchestra concert was amazing. Like, so amazing. I was sitting next to one of my friends, Donovan, and he looks at me and he said, "That horn sounds like it's singing." And it did. Like, the horn actually sounded like a person singing. And there was no one singing, so that's really cool. I've never heard an instrument sound like it was singing before. Really. Like, really, really sound like it was singing before. The second concert I went to was a Woodwinds concert that I actually just got back from. And it was great. And it was obviously different from the orchestra. You know, very different, just sound in general, because obviously different instruments involved, different instrument ratios. I don't know. But that's been my week, viewing wise. I did not get to go to my voice lesson this week, so I have nothing to report on that front, aside from the fact that I'm finally working on my 2 Italian pieces. My voice teacher wants me to perform in recital class a couple weeks from now. That's interesting. I'm not entirely sure that I want to do that, even though I'm sure it would be really good for me. I struggle with the idea that as a music education person that I should sing in recital class, and I know that's really horrible and that we're musicians first and then we teach, but it's just me trying to get out of it is what it is, because it's terrifying to stand in front of, you know, upperclassmen, voice majors, and sing and try not to sound bad, because you're not going to sound as good as them. It's just part of it. So that's, you know, not awesome. What else happened this week? Oh, I got sick this week. I actually missed this class this past week because I was sick. And I haven't missed a class at all this semester. Not a single class at all this semester until then. And can I tell you, it was stressful. Trying to make everything up. I had to make up a piano quiz. I had to cancel a voice lesson. I missed a day of music fundamentals, which when it's an 8-week course is kind of a big deal. But everything has been caught up by now, but, you know, it just made me realize just how much you don't want to miss class. And just how annoying it must be to teachers when they have to reteach things because people don't show up to class. So that's something I realized about teaching. That's going to be really annoying when people don't show up. So we had a choir. We're singing this piece that I really love. I just think it sounds really pretty. It's called Kua, and we're also singing a Mendelssohn piece, and I have no idea how to pronounce the name, but it's called Terzetto, I think. I don't know how to say that in a German-sounding voice. But we're singing those 2 pieces. I really think that Kua is beautiful. It's one of those songs, it's not particularly crazy challenging to sing. It's just really pretty to hear. It's a song that you sit down and you listen to it and you just really enjoy, like, getting to sit down and experience it because you can just feel it. Or at least I can. We worked with my, because I was sick, so this didn't get to go into last week's noticing journal. We had our performance today for my group 1 composition thing we had to do. It did not go as well as it should have. We did a lot better in rehearsal. And part of that's my fault because I was singing completely cold. I had not warmed up at all, so I took everything down probably an octave, and just kept changing keys down lower and lower because just the way it happened. I was not warmed up. I was not prepared. That's my fault. But the group, all of the cups, like the actual hitting and tapping of the cups was really good. Our vocals were not awesome, but they weren't horrible. And you know, honestly, I was pleasantly surprised with what we had because of the fact we were working. It was me and 6 instrumentalists, and I'm the only vocalist. So then it's even more sad that I was so off today. But it happens. But the instrumentalists we had in our group were just, I mean, they're instrumentalists that don't sing. They're instrumentalists that are not like, yeah, I love my instrument, but I also love, you know, just performing and singing, and they weren't that way. They didn't really enjoy it. So it was really nice to see them put themselves out there in that way, and I think that's a good thing to do. I feel like I realized that, like, it's really important to expose people to everything, because I think some people in the group realized, hey, I kind of like this singing thing, and I've only ever played my oboe, and it may be really nice to sing and not play my oboe sometimes. For me, I just keep thinking, and I wonder all the time, and I never ask this question because to anyone I didn't know really well, and I don't really know any of the instrumentalists super well yet. If, like, nerves can make your instrument sound weird. Like, if you're still blowing the air into the instrument and pressing the right notes, like, can you tell you sound nervous? Because I know that with my voice, and pretty much everyone else's voice, when you're nervous, you can hear it. You can hear it. So I'm wondering if you can really tell if an oboe sounds nervous. Just food for thought. What else? Just the whole orchestra concert was beautiful. I mean, I don't know how anyone else listens to orchestra music or just purely instrumental music, but I listen to it and try and put a story together, because I automatically think of orchestra music as either A, an orchestra for musical, or B, background music in a movie. So I generally try to put a story together, and these pieces were just great. They were so good. And there were 2 world premieres, and that was really cool, because one of the guys who was the composer for one of the pieces was like 80 or something. Probably older than that. I think he was like 82, 84 or something like that. And he stood up clapping and was just so happy and, you know, bravo, bravo. And I'm thinking, oh, dear Lord, please don't break a hip. But, like, wow, you know, you're 80 and you're still doing this. Like, wow. Like, I'm sure he's done other things, but he's 80. And what he's, like, getting out there is beautiful. I just keep thinking, like, when I'm 80, I hope I'm doing things like that. Maybe not composing, but, you know, doing what I love and still able to do it successfully, which is another reason why I'm glad I'm not a dance major, because how long can you, you know, do pliés before? I don't know what a plié is. I'm just throwing the only dance vocabulary word I know other than pas de bourrée out into the world. But, you know, at a certain point, I'm assuming you can't jump up like 3 feet in the air or throw an aerial, you know, like you're 45. You can't do that anymore. You probably got rheumatoid arthritis, you know. So that's another reason I'm glad that what I do doesn't really have an age limit. Although, you know, old people, when they get real old, I'm talking like 60s, 70s, their voices change. And you've got that old person singing voice, and I don't know if it's because when you're 35, your lungs stop expanding. They don't stretch. They get to a certain point and they stop. So your lungs can fill, but they don't expand any. Fun fact. Learned this from my grandfather, who has really bad emphysema. After you're 35, your lungs don't get any bigger. So it'd be like this water bottle. It could fill up, but it's not like a balloon where it can stretch even further. So what you've got when you're 35 is what you've got. Which on the one hand, as a singer and someone who has to expand my lungs so much, means that I'm probably going to have pretty good lung capacity up into my 60s. But I think a lot of it is the support that you need to sing. And that's why old people voices have that, like, really shaky, like, thing going on, and it's not vibrato. Like, they can't help it. It's not something that they're in charge of. It's just there. So I really hope that it's kind of sad that it's something that is going to change, and one day I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be singing and I'm going to be like, oh my God, it's gone, it's gone, you know, and that's not ever something pleasant to think about. But food for thought, when I thought about that, you know, 84-year-old man clapping for his world premiere of his composition that sounded like, you know, I don't even know, it was amazing, it was beautiful. So that's kind of what I've been thinking about. Still haven't, you know, figured everything out. I'm still, you know, this, like, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed freshman person that's like, oh, that's a triad? Wow! Like, everything's really exciting to me because it's stuff that I don't know. So, lots of new things happen to me every week that I haven't had happen before. Lots of new things. So I guess I'm just ready for advising and to get my schedule done and to try and get an A on my music fundamentals final and to turn this thing in on time because last week I turned my noticing journal in late. I like, you know, like 12 hours or something, but it's still late. And I had it typed up and everything and didn't press the submit button because I'm dumb. Not really, but just because I'm forgetful and we had a concert and, you know, the whole world ended or something. I don't know. But yeah, so those are the things that I've done this week. I heard an instrument sing. It's the first time I've heard that. And it was really cool. And I don't play an instrument, but it's cool to be able to be like, wow, that run sounded like someone singing. And you're not singing, you're playing a horn. So, that's my 2 cents for the week. That's my noticing journal for the week. And, I'll get back to you more next week, I guess. So, bye!